there, this is San Diego magician Tom Interval. Welcome to another Interval of Magic. It's Thursday, May 9th, 2019, and this is Blogcast number 8, Harry Houdini's Stamford Home. Now, before I begin, just a quick plug to support me in making videos like this. Go to patreon.com/TomInterval, become a patron, and instantly have access to exclusive patrons-only bonus magic videos. And I'll mention your name and thank you in my next video. This blogcast is about the summer home in Stamford, Connecticut that Harry Houdini owned from 1904 to 1905. I'll give you a few updates since I wrote the original blog in 2013. So Houdini bought the home in 1904, the same year he bought his home in New York City at 278 West 113th Street. In 1905, for some unknown reason, he sold the Stamford home to Nathan Parker, who lived there through the mid-1970s. Now, it's important to note that in the 1960s, the home burned down and was rebuilt in the same saltbox style on the original foundation. David and Elaine Sansone, or Sansoni, bought the home from Parker in the 70s and are the current owners. According to an article published in the Stamford Advocate about 2.5 years ago, William Kalush, co-author of The Secret Life of Houdini, The Making of America's First Superhero, discovered some of Houdini's diary notes about the Stamford home. Apparently, on Thursday, August 10th, 1905, Houdini wrote that he visited the Advocate. On the 12th, a front-page story titled Houdini Living in Stamford mentioned that Houdini bought the property to have a, quote, quiet, rural spot where he could rest, and where Cecilia, his mother, could share in that tranquility. He apparently also played cards there with friends, according to the Advocate, and one of them won what you might expect on a farm: several ducks. It's general knowledge Houdini wanted to be the first, the best at everything, but interestingly, that applied mostly to his career, not to his homes, which were modest compared to the insanely large mansion his brother Leo bought in nearby Ridgefield. That house, which still stands, is 19,452 square feet, complete with 11 bedrooms and a ballroom. I originally published the blog I'm about to read on September 11th, 2013. Houdini's Stamford Home Identified by Tom Interval. One of Harry Houdini's better-known homes was and is located at 278 West 113th Street in Harlem, New York, his permanent residence. However, unless you're a Houdini geek, you might not know the legendary escapologist and magician also owned a summer home from 1904 to 1905 on a 7-acre farm in North Stamford, Connecticut. Until today, we knew only the approximate location of the home, about 16 miles southwest of where Houdini's brother Leopold Weiss once owned a multi-million-dollar estate. However, thanks to Renee Kahn, founder and director of the Historic Neighborhood Preservation Program, HNPP, in Stamford, her research assistant, and some other local folks, we now know the property's exact location: 286 Webb's Hill Road. Note the spelling. The road, popularly spelled W-E-B-B-S Hill, is named after the Webb family, so including an apostrophe is actually correct. W-E-B-B'-S, according to Kahn. The HNPP actually broke the news on page 6 of its fall 2011 newsletter, but no one I know of, including me, caught it. It was only after doing some digging this week that I came across the story. While the home's exact address is not specified in the newsletter, a phone call to Kahn solved that mystery. Land records showed that Eric and his wife and stage assistant, Wilhelmina, known as Bess, had actually purchased a house along with a large tract of farmland, writes Kahn, also the editor of the newsletter. We could see what attracted him to the property, a hilltop farm that had spectacular views all the way to Long Island Sound. Kahn says the house sits on the highest point in Stamford, and the expansive view at the time was all farmland instead of mostly trees, as it is today. Unfortunately, the original home, built in 1830, the one Harry and Bess briefly occupied, burned down in the 1960s, leaving nothing more than the chimney, 2 fireplaces, and the foundation. However, part of that original foundation is the basement in which Houdini certainly walked and possibly worked. According to John L. DeForest in his book Once Upon a Long, Long Ridge, a memoir of Connecticut community, the house now standing on the property, the one shown in the photos, is a replica of the original home, and according to specs on the Zillow website, the newer 4,000-square-foot saltbox-style home has 4 bedrooms and 4 baths and now occupies a 1-acre lot as opposed to the 7 acres once owned by Houdini. Those 7 acres originally extended behind the house to the left and right, all the way down to Long Ridge Road, which runs parallel to Webb's Hill Road. If you look at the property on Google Street View, you'll see 3 separate buildings. the house, a garage, and a small cottage. The garage and cottage were not there in Houdini's day, and the room extending from the left, the south end of the house, was a later addition. There are two still existing structures Kahn and one of the homeowners say might have been there when the Houdinis lived in the home. Two water wells. One is on the south end of the property, the other on the north end behind the cottage. The one shown in the accompanying photo is the south well. It's fun to think Houdini himself might have used those wells. Once the property of a man fittingly named Triumphant Lockwood, writes Kenneth Silverman in his biography, Houdini, the Career of Eric Weiss, it had substantial buildings with fields, gardens, livestock, and an orchard locally celebrated for its cider. Silverman goes on to write that Houdini told a reporter he cut down 20 trees to clear a road and moved some 200 to 300-pound boulders, unassisted, onto a wagon and carted them off. Perhaps that road was the back path leading up to the house from Long Ridge Road. The property, which had been called Webb Hill, became known as Weiss Hill, according to Silverman. Thanks to the homeowners and to Renee Kahn and her daughter Eve for their time and lively conversations. Thanks also to Heloise and Melanie, reference librarians at the Ferguson Library in Stamford, for pulling the DeForest book, scanning the relevant pages, and emailing them to me. There wasn't much written about Houdini there, but what little there was added to the overall picture. Here's the exact quote. Another gifted man in the general area was famed magician Harry Houdini, who lived for a time on Webb's Hill Road, about midway to Stamford Center from Longridge, during the early 1900s. The house, since destroyed by fire and replaced with a replica of the original, stood at the crest of the hill behind the tavern, which in more recent years has been known as Giovanni's. Now, as it turns out, Giovanni's Steakhouse closed several years ago. However, the building, located at 1297 Longridge Road, which runs parallel to Webb's Hill Road, still stands. It now houses Madonia Restaurant. The building served as a great reference point when I was initially trying to locate Houdini's home. Thanks for watching and or listening to this interval of magic. If you enjoyed it and want to see more like it, along with a variety of other great magic-related content, please help support my work by becoming a Patreon patron at www.patreon.com/TomInterval. Also, please like and share this, subscribe to my Interval Magic YouTube channel, and follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, @IntervalMagic. Until then, may your intervals be happy, peaceful, and magical.